I don't know if you've heard the news, but some people are saying that AI can now do your bookkeeping for you, as in no person involved. You have this AI agent where it's just send them on their way and they do your bookkeeping for you and they produce financials and everything's good to go. That may be true for some industries, but I'm kind of here to set the record straight today for real estate investors. So I'm Max Emery, founder and CEO of Time Capital Bookkeeping. 100% of our clients are real estate investors. And so I'm coming from the perspective of we just have a lot of reps serving real estate investors in a bookkeeping capacity, right? And we're also experimenting heavily with AI right now, every single day in a lot of different things that we do within the firm. And AI is extremely useful. Now, is it to the point right now of being able to just take your transactions and run with them and categorize them in a way that's 100% accurate, that's going to be tax ready, audit ready, just like decision ready? If you see the sign behind me, that's what we're really big on for our real estate investing clients, making sure their financials are useful and they can make decisions to get to their goals quicker, right? So for real estate investors, it is not there yet. So if you are a real estate investor and you're currently throwing in your bank accounts or your bank statements and your credit card statements and whatever, all your different statements, and you're just saying, hey, create a P&L, create a balance sheet, whatever, you would have to train and correct and put in all these decision points and judgment calls. And you're just, as a real estate investor, with the different things that you have going on that I'm going to go into in detail in this video, it cannot do your bookkeeping right now. Now, not to say that a bookkeeper who really knows what they're doing and knows the real estate investing industry, like our team, we can use it to our advantage at a massive scale to become massively more productive and serve our clients in a higher capacity, right? As of right now, we do not use a whole lot of AI, and we don't have AI agents who do the bookkeeping and all that stuff for our clients who we have trained, because there's nothing out there currently that has the appropriate security measures to where we can use these AI platforms on sensitive financial info, like our clients' sensitive financial info, if that makes sense, right? And so if you're currently using AI and you're saying AI is doing your bookkeeping as a real estate investor, I guarantee you that what it's producing for you is inaccurate. And so let's get into some of the details of why that may be, okay? And so again, just kind of to frame the perspective, I really want AI to work for bookkeeping and for super duper simple industries where it's really just money out, a freelance consulting company or something that doesn't have a whole lot of balance sheet activity like inventory, depreciation, amortization, all sorts of crazy loans and just like tax basis on all these different assets. And for companies that are really just money out, more of a cash flow model transactionally, and you're comfortable giving these AI platforms access to your sensitive personal and financial information, which is going to be up to your risk tolerance with this stuff, then absolutely, I can train an agent right now to do your bookkeeping for you. But at the end of the day, you as the business owner still need to be able to look at the financials and do a sanity check, right? Look at how some of these transactions are coded, how some of these journal entries are done, and there needs to be a reconciliation process in there, and there's got to be some quality control, right? And so if you don't have a bookkeeping or accounting background to be able to do that, to be able to know what right looks like, then it's just not going to work, right? You're flying blind. And even your tax professional isn't always going to catch things at tax time because they're busy serving 1,000 clients, right? And so some of our newer clients that we get, their prior returns have to be amended because of some of the things that we catch, right? And we introduce them to the tax partners that we work with, who we know are just top tier in the country. And they catch a bunch of mistakes that previous tax professionals made, and that leads to amendments within the tax returns, right? So you can't always trust that your tax professional is going to catch things as well, because they're typically not looking at things at the transactional level. They're just looking at the overview and producing the tax return. So anyways, our team is testing this stuff heavily, and we are limited in the testing that we can do right now, though, because of the security concerns. And so the frame that I'm coming from, I'm not negative on AI. I use a ton of AI, and our team uses a ton of AI every single day. We love it. It works great. It does a lot of different things. But if you're a real estate investor trying to have it do your bookkeeping right now, I just want to speak to some of the shortfalls that we're seeing with it right now. First and foremost, for real estate investors, a big reason why AI is really not a good option to do your books for you right now is the property property level coding that is required. So that's the first wall that AI is going to hit if you're training it to try to do your bookkeeping, right? And so basically almost every transaction has to be coded to a specific property. So it's not just, oh, this was a labor or a repair expense or whatever, right? Is that repair for a rental property or for a flip or for a hotel or whatever, right? What property, what type of deal is this repair for? What's the street address for this property? Everything has to be property specific, coded to the property, right? What entity is this property owned by, right? A lot of our clients have 20 plus entities, right? And they or their contractors don't always flow transactions through the appropriate entities. So maybe this repair transaction is not in the entity's bank account that it's supposed to be. And so now we have to do a due to, due from situation, and we're having to do a lot of manual actions to appropriately account for this transaction, right? And maybe it's not even an expense transaction. Maybe it's a capital expenditure for a rental property, or maybe it's a pre-placed in service expense for rental property that has to be capitalized, not as a capital expenditure, but in a different capacity. So as you can see, there's instantly a lot of complexities just due to us having to code things to specific properties. And so your AI agent, let's say, is not going to be able to decipher that unless you already have really good processes in place as the real estate investor that lets it know which transaction goes to which property. And it has to be able to tell from the bank description, which is hit or miss, especially if you're using a lot of checks, each type stuff, Venmo, Zelle, stuff like that. It's going to be very hit or miss what the bank description says, or the credit card memo or whatever. It may not be descriptive enough, right? So you're still going to have to tell that agent what that transaction is, which you already have to do if you're doing your own books, you as a person doing your own books, or if you have a bookkeeper, right? So it's kind of going to be the same flow. But now you just have that extra level of, is this thing categorizing it right? I can somewhat have a conversation with it, but also I'm not sure what all it's remembering or not remembering, or maybe it's getting some things confused. You have that extra level of just uneasiness, I guess, because it's not a person, right? Now, a person bookkeeper who's maybe using AI to their advantage to categorize your things, that's just going to be a better situation for you as of this point in time for the reasons that I just went into. And so all the different deals, flips, wholesales, rentals, all that stuff has to be categorized in different ways, right? If it's going back to the repair expense, if it's for a flip property, it's going to go to an inventory asset account. But you can't just throw a property address at this AI agent. You have to say it's 123 Main Street. And also, by the way, please remember this, 123 Main Street is a flip. And then maybe at one point, 123 Main Street, oh shoot, we can't sell it. Then it turns into a rental. That happens all the time with our clients. And it's like you tell the AI agent, now it turned into a rental. But now some bookkeepers don't even know how to do this, right? How are we going to convert that on the books from a flip inventory asset accounts to a rental? Appropriate tax basis, appropriate CapEx, appropriate things that are depreciated, things that are amortized, and then things that are immediately deductible per the tax code. How are we going to decipher all that stuff? We have to point this AI agent to the appropriate sections in the tax code to have them decipher, or we have to maybe build them a flow chart, or have them build a flow chart rather based off of the tax code. But then you still have to have the bookkeeping and accounting and tax knowledge now to know if what they built is accurate, because now that's their operating system for categorizing things, right? And so you can see that this is much more complicated than just, oh, give it the transactions and have it categorize them. Like, it's for real estate investors, it is much, much more complex than that. And the way things are categorized heavily affects your tax liability. Commingling. I haven't even spoken about that. I spoke about it a little bit with the entities, but commingling. A lot of our clients commingle, some unintentional, between their personal accounts and their business accounts. And then lots of different entities for real estate investors, which I already spoke to. Some commingle a lot between businesses. Bravo LLC purchases things that should have been under Alpha LLC and vice versa. And so there's all these due from situations now, but the AI is not going to know that, right? You are still going to have to tell the AI agent, hey, these three transactions in Bravo LLC's account are actually for Alpha LLC's account, and it's for this property specifically. And so now it's going to have to do these journal entries that maybe it knows how to do, maybe it doesn't, maybe you have to train it how to do it, of due to, due from, and we need it to reflect for these properties within these entities, or maybe we want to treat it as a loan. So now it has to structure it in a different way so that it treats it as a loan on the books and it reflects appropriately on the balance sheet. But aside from all those complexities of how to actually code all that stuff within the bookkeeping, which again, some bookkeepers don't even know how to do that unless they specialize in an industry like real estate, it's just not going to know that. So you're still going to have to feed it all this information. Otherwise, AI, like it does, is going to make a whole lot of assumptions. And those assumptions are going to be inaccurate and they're going to cost you money come tax time. But even greater than that, you're going to have some opportunity costs there, right? Because you're going to be using your financials to make decisions to grow your business, to become more profitable, whatever. But you're going to be basing all of that off of fault financials that this AI agent generated for you, right? And we see these same situations. I'm not meaning to rag on AI. We see these same situations with people, right? So people bookkeepers or firms who say they specialize in real estate, but then they get all this stuff wrong, right? And so it's the same result. You still don't have good financials to make good decisions off of. And it ends up costing you a ton of money operationally, but as well as from a tax perspective too. And so you as the business owner, you as a real estate investor, unless you have an extensive bookkeeping and accounting background, specifically in real estate investing bookkeeping, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so, and it's not on you to know that stuff. That's why you hire people who specialize in that, right? And allow them to use technology to their advantage rather than you using technology, but then not being able to check what it does. So I hope that makes sense, right? You don't know what you don't know. And so what it produces for you, you don't know if it's accurate or not. And you can't just submit all that stuff to your tax pro at tax time and trust that they are going to catch things that aren't right. We as bookkeepers catch a lot of mistakes every single year that our clients' CPAs make because they serve a lot of clients, right? They can't go through every single transaction, every single journal entry that is done for a real estate investor to file their taxes, right? They have to make some assumption so it affects you at tax time. It affects you making decisions. Maybe it affects you trying to get some sort of lending, partnerships. It's a massive chain reaction, essentially, if you don't have accurate entity level, property level, corporate level, tax ready, audit ready, decision ready financials. And so if you're an operator in an industry as complex as real estate investing transactionally, right now you need a person. That's what I'm getting at. You need a person, and it's not even a question, right? And then I spoke to this a little bit, but just multiple activities maybe flowing through one entity and a few financial accounts. So an example would be someone who has rentals, flips, wholesales. Maybe they do a lot of creative finance. We haven't even talked about that. Creative finance is a nightmare for people, but also for AI because it immediately becomes complex. Everybody does it differently. They can say, oh, this is a wrap or this is whatever, but they're doing it differently than our next client who also does that. And they have completely different models of how they perform those, right? And so you have to relay all that to this AI agent, and then you have to tell them how things should be reflected on your financials, which that's going to take some workshopping, right? Our entire team workshops these creative finance stuff constantly. Our team, and then we collaborate with our clients, tax professionals on how things should be reflected and coded because some of these situations are very complex. But just at a basic level, you're doing rental, maybe different types of rentals, you're doing flips, you're doing wholesales, you're doing hotel, all through one entity because you're just starting out, you haven't scaled yet, and through a few financial accounts because you're just getting started, right? And so AI is not going to be able to decipher between those activities. They're just going to say, oh, these are all property. Even if you tell them the property address is great, code them to the properties, but flips are categorized differently than rentals. And then we treat wholesales a certain way. We treat hotels a certain way, very similarly to flips, but slightly different. And so you have to be able to essentially build your accounting structure, your chart of accounts and some other things to be able to account for all this stuff in a way that allows your financials to make sense, right? And you may not know how to do that, but that's what you need to train these AI agents on what they're supposed to be doing for you, right? I use Claude Cowork right now to do different things for me. I don't give it access to any sensitive personal or financial information, but I have it fill out Google Sheets with specific things. And I use it a lot on the marketing and sales side of the business. And it's amazing at what it can do, but it still makes mistakes with some things that are seemingly simple, right? And I have to tell it exactly what to do, or it will make a bunch of assumptions that don't fulfill my intent, right? So I have to give it a lot of prompts for what my intent is, what the end result is. But you not knowing what you don't know as a business owner, as a real estate investor, like you don't have that end result in mind to be able to give it, right? And that's what's necessary. And then very quickly, depreciation, amortization, all the different capitalizations. Real estate investing is very balance sheet heavy, no matter if you flip or you have rentals or whatever. It's very balance sheet heavy. And so again, you don't know what you don't know. You have to know the tax code sections that speak to the real estate investing industry at a basic level to know how to categorize things for a real estate investing business. So that's where it starts. And then we have to further build out the accounting structure so that it makes sense when our real estate investing client look at their financials. They're looking at information that they want to see, and it's also compliant from a tax perspective for what their tax professional needs to advise them and file their taxes. And then their CFO's involved as well. It fulfills what they need, right? But you don't know. And so you need a person who knows that type of stuff to train the AI basically on that stuff, right? If we were going to give it access to your stuff, but you still have to tell it, what property is this? Is this a flip? Is this a rental? Whatever. If it doesn't have a good bank description or memo on the transaction, you're going to have to tell it what that was for, right? And so it seems like I'm ragging on AI. I'm not. I love AI, but especially when I have a real estate investor tell me that, oh, I keep using Claude Cowork as an example. That's just what I'm using for a lot of things right now, but I'm having Claude Cowork or whatnot do my bookkeeping right now. I'm instantly like, here we go. Do I want to start asking a lot of probing questions and see how they answer? Or do I just want to say, great, I hope that works out for you. Just please get a second set of eyes on that to make sure it's accurate. So there's just a lot of that going around right now. There are places where AI adds a ton of value. Categorizing recurring transactions that are super straightforward, flagging anomalies within transactions and within the financials, a little bit of drafting financial summaries and a little bit of analysis if we're going to give it access to that type of information. But QuickBooks Online already has all that stuff built inside of it, right? And the operations management software that we currently use that's directly integrated with QuickBooks that also doubles as a client portal, it has all of that stuff and it actually does it better than Intuit does it, who owns QuickBooks. And so that's why we use that additional software, right? And so like this is nothing new, I guess, is what I'm saying. If you're going to have some sort of outside, non-organic, third-party type of AI platform do this stuff for you, I think it's great. I don't think you should be giving access to your sensitive financial information right now just because of where the security is at with this stuff. It's pretty open right now from my understanding. And it will keep getting better. So we're looking at that, right? We are leading the effort on this because we want to use this stuff. So we really want this stuff to work, but you just need to beware of the shortfalls and what is necessary to get this technology to where it needs to be to do these things for you accurately. And then even then, you still need a second set of human eyes to check the AI's work, right? The AI agent's work that they did for you, okay? And so you don't know what you don't know. If you don't have an extensive bookkeeping and accounting background in your industry, then you're going to need to hire a person to take a look, right? And then make corrections and all that stuff. And so AI is accelerating things for our industry for sure. It still has a long way to go, but we look at it as not replacing humans. We look at it as expanding the human potential, essentially, when it comes to our industry, which is bookkeeping, which is the foundation for anything else financial that you want to do in your business, right? So that's how we're looking at this. If you're a real estate investor and you want to talk more about this stuff, or you want to sort of second set of human eyes, like human expert eyes, looking at your financials, that maybe this is this stuff, or maybe even another human is producing for you, get in touch with me, Time Capital Bookkeeping. Our website's timecapitalbcs.com. Again, Time Capital BCS, Bravo Charlie Sierra.com. There's a button that says get quoted or something like that at the top. Just hit that, a 4 or 5 question form that you fill out, and then we'll hop on a call and chop this stuff up. Also, if you are a bookkeeper who serves real estate investors, we have a school community called Bookkeeping for REI. We'll link it below. That is built for this. We talk about this exact stuff in there. We are leading the fight with this AI stuff, right? We are trying to get it to work for ourselves, to serve our clients and serve more clients in a better capacity, right? So we talk about this stuff all the time. And that group is built for basically teaching bookkeepers how to serve the real estate investor. And so again, I'm Max Emery, founder and CEO of Time Capital Bookkeeping. 100% of our clients are real estate investors. And I have been a real estate investor myself since 2019. So I have the operator knowledge as well. All of that stuff is in our school community, Bookkeeping for REI. We'll have it linked below. And so that's also an option for you real estate investors as well. If you want to do your own books, or if you want to train an in-house person to do your books for your real estate investing company, that school community is perfect for you as well. Bookkeeping for REI. And we do have another school community launching later in 2026. Not going to mention what it is right now. It is for bookkeeping entrepreneurs, and it is all around client acquisition. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. There will be more information, and I'll make sure to get that to you guys. But anyways, I'm going to stop blabbing. Hopefully this kind of sets the record straight as far as REI goes, right? And AI goes. Okay. And so it's great. It's going to continue to get better, but if you are thinking that you can just give your transactions right now to some sort of AI platform and it's going to produce a corporate level, entity level, property level, different types of deals, all that stuff, everything's going to be 100% accurate as far as the financials that it produces for you, you are just uninformed right now, I would say. And if you are doing this right now successfully for yourself as a real estate investor and everything's all good with your financials, you've had other people check it who are experts in the industry, and you have figured this system out, get in touch with me. I would love to have a conversation about it. I'll even have you on the podcast and we can talk all about this. Anyways, hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one.